YouTube, what's going on? My name is Argon. Welcome back to some Fortnite informational, instructional, and conversational type content. Today, I'm going to do a follow-up to the video I just did about the redeploy mechanic that's been added to Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, when I originally posted about what I thought that this should be added to the game, that I thought it'd be a good idea to add the ability to redeploy your glider when you jump off of a high height, I added that. You know, I submitted that to Reddit a few months back. I got a lot of flack for it. A lot of people said I was stupid. I didn't think things through. It was dumb, blah, blah, blah. It turns out that people really haven't changed their mind. A lot of people are saying this is a really bad idea. And I'm going to do a little bit of a counter rant to that, I guess you could call it. Basically, I just want to tell you guys that it's not that big of a deal. The things that people are complaining about are not real problems that you need to be worried about. So what I've come to the conclusion after talking to several people and reading a lot of comments on Twitter and Reddit and whatever, basically people are concerned with two different things. One, they're claiming that essentially this is eliminating fall damage, which is kind of like saying we're taking out that strat where I can shoot your base down, and that's my way of getting a kill by causing fall damage. And the other one is people saying that you're going to essentially just always have sky bases. So let me counter the first argument, well, the second argument really, the fact that people will always have sky bases. Now, that's of course not going to be true. You're not going to have a sky base every single game, and even if you do, that player is not of a concern to you. There's a couple of reasons why. One, the amount of materials it takes to get up to a sky base is pretty significant. So let's say you shoot that person down, the odds of them actually building up to a second sky base are relatively slim. So they're only going to do it once, right? At that point, they're not really a problem. The sky base portion of it is not a problem to you. And then the other reason why they're never going to build up again is because think about it like this. By the time you even notice a sky base, it's late circle, and the ability of somebody to build all the way to the sky again from a late circle run is really, really slim. It's most likely not going to happen. The other problem, or the other thing about that makes it not a problem, is anybody who's going to build a sky base generally is landing somewhere remotely, getting a ton of materials, and then building high, and looting what they can when they land, and that's it. Most of the time, the loot you get when you first land is not always the best, right? So those people are not going to have a lot of ammo, they're not going to have a lot of extra shields or health, and they're not going to have the best weapons because most likely they haven't engaged any opponents to get extra loot. That's how you get your best loot in Fortnite, is by getting more kills and having the loot brought to you from the people that you down. They're just not going to be a threat. Yeah, they'll be annoying, and the odds of you getting sniped from way high up in the air, 200 meters in the air, slim. If you did get sniped from that high, you probably weren't moving, so it's your fault anyway. But either way, you got to be mindful of it now, right? At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It's a minor threat. It's less dangerous to you than a person hiding in a bush, right? Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Now, the second thing that people are complaining about, saying that you're eliminating fall damage, which is a viable strategy. Now, I get it that causing someone to fall and take damage and fall to their death is a viable strategy. It's basically a strategy for when you get outbuilt, and when you get outbuilt, that means you get outplayed. Now, I want to focus on something here. This game is about building. Think about it like this. Everything in this game is centered around the building aspect. That's why you have weapon bloom. You don't have really a true shooter. It's not about the gunplay. That's why they keep nerfing the guns into oblivion, like the shotguns and the fall damage of the range and of ARs and stuff, and bloom again. Like I said, this game is not about the gunfights. It's just not. It's about building. Every change they've made over the course of time developing this game is centered around making the building more powerful, adding turbo building. The big building update that they did several months ago, where they made it so you could build through cars and trees, and a lot of people don't even remember before when you couldn't even do that. Back when this game first launched, building was way harder, especially on controller. Now even all the controller updates are designed for you to be building better. It's all centered around building. There have been little to no updates that make the gunfighting better. Think about it, honestly. All they've done is add more shields, so that allows you to live longer. Added more health, so it allows you to live longer. And really killed the weapons. They've added spam weapons. They've reduced shotgun damage. All the skill weapons have been really essentially made useless, and the building has been made more powerful. The only real nerf they ever did to building was by reducing the amount of materials that are in the llamas, and also just reducing the general, I don't know what you want to call it. I feel like turbo building is really contributing to you burning through mats a lot faster. But in general, they've kind of nerfed the amount of materials you can farm from trees and buildings and stuff. But overall, really, the only real nerf was the nerf to llamas. And I think they did that because they didn't want somebody to have too many mats if they happen to land on a llama, because that could give them a severe advantage. Again, because this game's about building, because you're better off with one gun and a lot of materials than a bunch of guns and no materials. It's really, just think about it. I'd rather have a ton of materials and one pump shotgun over a SCAR, a pump, an SMG, and no mats. Really that easy. I could kill anybody when I have a pump and plenty of material to build. So think about, as a game developer, put your mind in the mind of a game developer. Your whole theory is the center of my game is the gunfight, the engagement, the one-on-one. I know I said the gunfighting isn't the part of the game that makes this game important, it's the building, but it's really the one-on-one battle. It is a shooter after all. So how do I enhance that shooting game, that fight between two players, especially when it centers around building? Well, I have to protect the building aspect. It's really that simple. And when you have somebody that comes in and shoots your base down as a third party, for example, that person is not really part of the game. They're just benefiting from timing and or camping. So either they waited for you to finish your fight and then they jumped in when they knew you were weak, or they happened upon your fight just by chance. That happens a lot. Sometimes people hear the gunshots, they come running. You know, that's the kind of thing. So that person should not have a benefit because of something that is out of their control. That's really what it comes down to. Building is something you can control. Outbuilding your opponent is something you can control. Now, you can maybe shoot down your opponent if they outbuild you, but now you can also just jump off your builds and go recenter. That's another thing that people are complaining about, saying, oh, you're just gonna have people bailing on build fights all the time. Great. So if I run into a John Wick that is a pencil warrior and wants nothing to do with shooting and just wants to build to the sky, I'll leave. That's fine. That's my play. I have to relocate to a different location. Now, this goes back to the concept of fall damage, right? If I had really no fall damage, right? I did kind of eliminate fall damage with this change, but you've balanced it because now you have to jump and fly somewhere. You can't just fall straight down like you would if you could fall with truly no fall damage. If I could fall with no fall damage to the bottom of my builds, that's really a lot more OP than having to jump off and fly somewhere, relocate, potentially engage new opponents that are seeing me coming and I don't know that they're there. It's just a different situation. I want you to think about that. Having to jump off your builds is going to make you put at a disadvantage than if you had even stayed in your builds to begin with, because you don't know what's going on. Your awareness is gone. So like I said, my biggest reason that I even suggested this was because I got sick and tired of getting third party. Now this mattered more in season 5 when you had a lot more mobility with the rifts specifically, that people could just show up. It was like you're getting third party almost every single fight. And with the way that fights last now, with they just last longer, building is a lot easier, you have so much more health, like the fights last a lot longer, and you're most likely going to get third party. Now it doesn't seem to be as bad, even though they're adding vehicles and stuff to make it easier for you to sneak up on people, but it seems like the third partying isn't as bad as it used to be. But either way, still, third partying is not part of the engagement. Like, nowhere in the design of a game would they say you're running along and out of nowhere you're getting ambushed. Like, that's not the main concept. The whole point is you see somebody, you fight them, and then you win, you loot up, and you leave. It's a survival game mode. There's very few games, survival game modes, where, you know, battle royales, where you're having to constantly engage like a rush of opponents like it's a zombies game. It's just not realistic. And it wasn't like this when the game launched. The game pace was much slower. Even though the map was the same size, it hasn't shrunk or anything. They've just made it effectively smaller with all the mobility that they've added. So that I want you guys to think about. And let me know again in the comments section down below, like, in general, what are your thoughts? I feel like most of the community is against me on this one. I don't think a lot of people are really like want this to be in the game. Maybe they just don't really understand why it needs to be in the game. Hopefully what I'm explaining to you will help you understand what I'm thinking and why I said that this would be needed to be added to the game. Now, I'm not saying that it's perfect the way that it is. It might need to be balanced. It might need to be that maybe to avoid the shooting down people's builds, maybe you have a damage fall off when you're shooting structures, you know, from range. So somebody that's far away shooting your structure with an AR can't do regular damage like they could right next to it, so they can't shred through your builds as easily as they could if they're right next to it. That might be a good balance. I'm open to that. At the end of the day, like I said, the whole reason I suggested this is because I was sick and tired of getting third partied, and whatever it takes for me to not have to get third partied, I'm all for. Also, it's kind of cool when you get disadvantaged with a bad circle. For example, if you land on one corner of the map and the circle ends at another end of the map and you don't have a launch pad, well, now you don't need one. And speaking of launch pads, yes, these are obsolete now, but who cares? Like, really, it's not that serious. It's a launch pad. It's not like they're obsoleting shields, right, or something like that. And also, don't forget, when you have so many items in this game, when one becomes obsolete and gets put in the vault, that just leaves your chances of getting something else better there. Like that, now you don't have to worry about ever finding a launcher because you have a permanent launcher available to you. And now you could get other stuff from loot or spawns. It's a good thing. With so many items in the game, it's more important to get your chances of getting other more useful stuff available to you quicker than something that is situational. But that's what I think, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe. And if you're not following me on social media, those links are down in the description below. And as always, guys, my name is Argon, and may you never die to a bush. Peace.